a part of me and a part of everything I loved and everything I had built in my entire life will always sit on the side of that road. And I hope that I could replace it with something different and still continue to live the life I wanted to live.
Extreme success is the result of working hard, dreaming big, learning from failure, loyalty, persistence, and resilience. Hello and welcome to another episode of Xtreme One to Watch. I could not be more excited. We have been wanting to get this interview together for a long, long time. Our great friend, it makes me almost nervous, like she's a star, Ms. Amberley Snyder. Welcome, welcome, and thank you again for coming and participating with us today.
Absolutely, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you had a good run, had a little trouble on the run, as they say today, but despite that, let's first talk about that horse you rode today.
So her name is BW Fame Came 2. I call her Penny. Well, it's not even true. I call her Princess Penny because she has to be referred to as a princess. And she's pretty special. I got her a couple years ago and just to have her as a backup to my good horse. And so we've gone through some growing pains up and down, figuring her out. And we're coming back right now from a 6-month break and just trying to get our feet back underneath us before the rodeo season really takes off.
Oh, yeah. She's so talented. What do you love about her?
Oh, well, she's a Sour Patch Kid. I mean, she is the sweetest horse you will ever be around until she bites you. And I love that, honestly, about her, because this mare just falls in love with when you're around her and you fall in love with her just as much as she does you. And she wants to go out there and try hard for you. And I think that means a lot. You know, I've always loved mares for that. Mares want to try hard. I mean, they want to win as bad as you do. And it's honestly why I went and found a mare, because I was ready to have something else that wanted to have that little extra bit of grit that they may not always get from me anymore. And that's honestly where I came across with her.
Well, and then until you're having a bad mare day, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're all going to have the sassy days, but
Yeah.
I think we relate to that as women.
I think so. I think they kind of, it's like a little bit of a competitive edge. It's like, no, I can be meaner.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Can.
I can have bigger sass than you.
That's right. Well, where did you pick her up?
I got her from the Butlers, so Amanda Butler.
Yeah.
So I got her from that family, and they posted her, and I actually sent my little sister to go try her for me before I even went down there, and she calls me and says, "This mare is really cool. You need to come and try her." So I was like, all right.
Awesome.
So I went and tried her. When I tried her, I ducked the first barrel because I couldn't get her up in there. I've always rode one-handed since my accident. And you can't ride her one-handed. You have to ride her two-handed. And so I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to ride her. I thought, okay, worst case, I'll give her to Autumn for a bit and she'll retrain her to ride one-handed for me for the first barrel. And then I just told myself, man, we just got to suck it up. You got to figure it out. I mean, this horse is going to make you be better. And that's kind of the only choice. So she has. So now I can ride her two-handed to my first barrel.
Well, I think that's kind of your MO, isn't it? I mean, always about getting better and doing, just accepting any challenge that came your way. And I was talking to Stacy earlier about, we've been putting on barrel races for 30 years. And I know you were extremely young when you came in, and this cute little blonde gal with long hair and always fancy. Always fancy. I mean, just decked to the nines. I loved watching, and just so much tries, so much grit. And how did you get started in barrel racing?
So in my family, barrel racing is not really in the background. My dad played ball. My mom was a cheerleader. She had a horse when she was younger, but she didn't get to barrel race. But she loved horses. And so when she saw I had the interest, she wanted to make sure that it was possible for me. So she really did that. She said, all right, we'll find somewhere that will take a tiny kid and teach you how to ride horses. And then when we moved to Utah is when I started barrel racing, and Stacy came along to teach me anything she could teach me. And honestly, that's where I would have gotten my start, is between both of my mothers, is what I could tell you.
Oh, and what a great thing, to see that in a child and to know that that's their passion, that's really what drives them and what gets them up early. And so what was your first horse?
My first horse was Lacey, which would be the one you would know.
Yeah.
She was my Palomino horse. That was the only thing I requested from my dad, why I would even move to Utah with the family at 7 years old, is if he bought me a Palomino barrel horse when we got there. And
to match your blonde hair. That
true.
was rare back
it's
then,
true.
right?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have all the Palominos. back then that they do now. Now it's one in every
Now
drag.
they're like a red horse.
It's true. It's true. So it was actually tricky to find one. But we did. And she was my first horse, and she was hot. Like, she was a lot. We did a couple clinics, and Sharon Camarillo was one of those. And she was like, this horse is not for your kid. She told my mom that because she was so hot. And I cried and begged my mom, no, let me just work with her. I really want this horse. And so that was my first one. She was my first one. And I had a little bay mare named Jazzy after her that was my second one.
You come from a family of very competitive athletes. Talk to me a little bit about your family.
I'm pretty lucky with the family that I have. I mean, I have two parents that have taught me that dedication and perseverance, it's just part of life. And I'm really thankful for that, because I think that I wouldn't be where I'm at today or even sitting and visiting with you if I didn't have that being ingrained in me from day one, right? Before the challenges come along, to be taught that perseverance and hard work is just a part of life. And so I have an amazing set of parents that have obviously taught me that. And then I couldn't tell you enough about my siblings. There's something great about every single one of them that I strive to have in my life. And because of them, and their support, and them being the person that carries me when I can't carry myself, is the reason I can still be who I want to be.
Wow, that's really well said, because it does take a whole posse and a tribe of people to make yourself great, and to help lift you up. So everyone knows you. I mean, you've become this big international star from something that was totally out of your control. And let's walk back and talk about. There's a part of your life that's before the accident and after the accident, right?
Yep.
So we've talked about when you got started, and what were some of the wins before your accident?
Oh man, I was pretty lucky through the junior rodeo days to be able to step up into winning. And my mare Jazzy that I had, she was definitely the horse that taught me how to win. I mean, I knew at her at 10 years old, it didn't matter who showed up to the barrel race. If it was our day, we were going to win it. And there was a lot to be said with that. So I was able to have her through the junior days and up into high school, and had made high school nationals and won the world all around for the National Little Britches Association, and had all these big pictures of what I was going to do next. Wanted to go out and try for my rookie and get my permit that year. And I had all those plans of what I would be doing next. And of course, then life changed and something different.
And you were heavily involved in FFA.
Yes.
And still have been. But so talk about why you were in that truck alone.
So I was serving as Utah State FFA president, and I was actually going to Denver to work during the stock show. And as I was going through Sinclair, Wyoming, I looked down at a map and ended up rolling my truck and was ejected and hitting a fence post. But all of those pieces, were kind of lined up with just what I was planning on with my life, right? I was serving as a state officer, so that was my job. But I was wanting to save money and make money to be able to buy my permit and get to pro rodeo. And so all of those reasons are why I was in the truck on the way to Denver, was to further what was next in life. And didn't really foresee what I thought was next in life, but it definitely made a shift of what was going to come up.
Big curveball.
Very big, very big.
Way big. And you were how old?
18. I was 18 when I wrecked.
Had the world at its tail. And so what do you remember first about the accident? Were you conscious?
Yeah, I was conscious the whole thing. So, I remember looking for my map, reaching over to correct my truck, thinking that if I could keep my truck from rolling, I'd be fine. Then my truck turning completely sideways, picking up off the ground and rolling. I remember me getting thrown from the window and hitting something on the side of the road. And then, of course, at that point, you open your eyes up and you see that your truck's in front of you and you're not in it. And you do a self-evaluation to realize what you can and can't be doing. And that's when I realized I couldn't feel anything from the waist down.
Wow. So that was instant.
Yes.
That was instant.
Yes.
And then, so you're transported, and then the long journey began of accepting your new life.
Right. It's not something that you can be prepared for in any way. No. And it doesn't just even apply to mine, right? Like, every one of us is going to have something that happens that you feel like hit you like a curveball, right? Yeah. Hit you like you weren't expecting it to come. And that was that moment for me. I tell people that a piece of me was left on the side of the road forever. And I had to find a new piece of me to pick up when I left.
Wow.
And so that's definitely how I feel like my life went. You know, a part of me and a part of everything I loved and everything I had built in my entire life will always sit on the side of that road. And I hope that I could replace it with something different and still continue to live the life I wanted to live. But it's not always easy. It's not always what you expect it to be, but it's definitely been fulfilling.
Well, you made it that way. Your attitude made it that way because it's easier to give up than get up and keep going. And it's so profound, your analogies to that, you know, that you left something there and you had to take something from that. So where do you think that after the accident, was there a moment where it shifted for you to that, or was it always knowing that you just had to do that?
I think it's a roller coaster. I still to this day don't think I have it all figured out. And I hope I never look at my chair and feel like I'm comfortable in it. I really don't. I don't at any point want to feel like I'm content and happy where I'm at, because I think at that point then I have accepted it, and I don't want to accept it. This is not the life I planned on. It's not the life I planned or intend to live for the rest of it. So in my mind, my chair is a tool, and it has provided a lot of things. You know, it's given me an opportunity to inspire and motivate and change people's lives and save people's lives that I may not have been able to. But I hope I never accept it is where I am.
I really like that, because we're always told we need to accept things, but without accepting it, it means now that you won't accept it, that there's always hope, right? There's always ways. Where do you think, I know they're very innovative now with trying to work through paraplegics to help them get their mobility back. Are you on any of the cutting edge of that, or do you research that? Do you have someone that studies that? Does someone come to you with any of those information?
I won't lie, I'm probably not pretty good at staying up on that. I think that I really try to live my life in the moment for what it is. And I don't want to get caught up in the what ifs on a lot of things. And so, but my mom, my dad, you know, my doctor even sent me a link the other day, and they all keep up on it. It's insane how many people keep me in their hearts and in their minds and in their prayers, and I appreciate that, because they let me know. They let me know what's up and coming. So one of the things I'm actually doing next week is I'm going to be walking in some rewalk legs. So there's these robotic legs that'll walk for me, and I've been working to be able to qualify to be able to, just be good enough to walk in them. So I'm finally to the point that I can do that next week and try those. And the goal of those, they're not realistic to be my everyday legs, right? They're not realistic for that. But I hope the goal for me with those is that it would keep me at being a good candidate for the up and coming technology. So I hope that when some other things become available, because I've done this work, I'm going to be able to have that and have the opportunity for it.
Well, and so you kept with your horse program. Did you always feel like during the accident that you were going to get back on, or did you have doubts?
Oh, we always knew I was going to get back on. That wasn't a question. It wasn't a question for any of us that I was going to get back. And now, how the heck I was going to do what I wanted to do? No, I don't think we knew. I don't think we had an idea, because very well there was a lot of conversations between me and my mom and Stacy about, and my dad and like, how are we doing this? What are we going to do? And they also had to be patient with the emotions that went along with that, because it wasn't like I was just tough every day of it. I wish I could say I was, but I wasn't. And so, I convinced them we're getting back on, and then it was terrible. And so I had to go through that it was terrible, and it wasn't the same, and it wasn't my happy place. And then what, right? We know I still want to be there. We know it's where I'm supposed to be. And so Stacy found the seat belt. So then we did the seat belt. We put that on. I tried again. My balance was better, but the communication with my horse wasn't. So then once again, we go back to the drawing board and we figure out, okay, what do we do next? So we looked at those solutions and tried that, and it was, gosh, it is up and down and back and forth. All the time of what can we do to improve this, and how can I be better, and how can I ride as good as everyone else in the arena, knowing darn well that I have a disadvantage. I can't pretend that I don't. And so I have to still ride and keep up, right? You don't have my own category here. You don't get to be like, hey, this is the disabled riding category, and Amberley Snyder is the only one in it. I don't get that.
No.
I'm running with everybody else out there, and I have to figure out how to be just as good as them.
So that inspired you or motivated you, or just that you were so bit by the horse bug that it's just part of your whole DNA was having to just do it, get there?
Oh, I mean, we're horse girls.
Yeah.
Once horses are in your blood, it never goes away.
Yeah,
and we
true.
can try to pretend it doesn't. And we can try to have other things that do make us happy. But that horse bug doesn't leave. And it never did for me. It never went away. I just didn't know how to do it. And I don't want to do something and be second best at it. I've never been like that. Not since day one. So if I was going to do it, I wanted to have the tools and ability to be great. And I mean, that's why you do it. Now, what did have to shift for me is I had to remember why I started. You know, why do I want to get on the back of a horse anyway? Even if I'm not winning, the love for that horse doesn't change. And I think I had to be reminded of that in order to get to where I am.
Other than horses, what else makes you happy?
My family. That's easy for me. My family, they're the greatest humans that I'm around. My friends, I have some of the greatest group of friends. I'm super lucky with that. And honestly, then my speaking. I never thought I'd love something as much as being on the back of a horse. But getting to speak is that. You know, I think about all my roles as a human, right? Like, I mean, of how I would describe myself. And I would say I'm a competitor. I would say that I'm a speaker. I would say that I'm a friend. And I would definitely say that I'm a sister and an aunt. I mean, all of those things are a part of who I am. It's just, you know, it just picks up a what are you today? And what are you going to focus on?
Was there any other career in your life that you were attracted to, or that you looked at as interesting?
Oh, besides speaking, I mean, I love speaking. I really do, and that picked me. It wasn't. It really did. God lined that up for me, hands down.
How did that happen, and where did that happen?
So that was an FFA. You know, I was serving as state office as president, and as a state officer, you write a going away speech, a retiring address. I had written my retiring address in December of 2009. I wrecked in January of 2010. So I'd written my speech in December of 2009. You can write it on anything you want. And of course, since I was president, I did get first pick on whatever my topic was. And I thought if there was one last thing I wanted to share with FFA members, it was that they could overcome anything that was thrown their way.
How ironic.
So I wrote this whole speech in December of 2009 about that. And then I wrecked. I wrecked a couple weeks later and was living that speech.
Wow.
So 2 months to the day after my accident, instead of walking on that stage at convention, I wheeled. And was not only able to, you know, tell the kids what they were capable of, but show them. And from there, I just started getting asked. You know, I just started getting asked to speak at different places, and then it grew. And I swear God was waiting for me at some point to just recognize I could really be this, because the second I did, He was like, finally, now here's your job. This is what you're going to be. And it's just unfolded like that.
When did you feel and understand God realization?
You know, I've been really lucky with the background I have and the family that I have, that we've been raised to have the faith and have the belief in things are bigger than us. And that plays a big role. But after my accident, it was a very different kind of belief, because I was angry. I was really mad. I mean, why did God put me on this earth to just put me in a chair later on, right? Like, why did He do that? I don't understand that, and I didn't understand that. But I've had multiple realizations or promptings or anything you can think of, right, that have reminded me I am where I am. And I'm really thankful for that, because I think if I didn't have that, I mean, I would lack a lot of purpose and lack a lot of trust in the fact that I am where I'm supposed to be. And even when it sucks and I want to do absolutely anything else besides be in this chair, God reminds me that I'm strong enough to be here.
So you pull your strength through God.
A lot. I'll tell you, my family, my faith, and my horses.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Well, and that's a good trifecta.
I can't go wrong. I can't go wrong.
You know, it's great to have a senior partner, right? in life and everything. So we have our family that's our senior partners, and then when you get a relationship that you can have through a higher power, then it can uplift you to do more things than you ever dreamed possible. So have you been happy with what you've been able to accomplish since that horrible day? Are you proud of you?
Am I proud of me? Yeah, of course. I mean, I've done something that people have never done, right? Something that people said was impossible. Is it enough for me? Heck no.
Yeah.
Heck no. This isn't it. This isn't the end of my story. This isn't where I'm gonna be. I'm not, that's not it for me. So am I proud of myself? Absolutely. But can I be prouder? Darn right I can.
Oh, yeah. Who else are you proud of?
You know what? I'm proud of the people who have hung by me even when I'm a brat. So I think that says a lot because, like I tell people, I mean, people ask me all the time, how are you so positive? And I'll tell you, I'm not. I'm really not. I have really bad days. I have really sad days. I have really mad days. Just all of those emotions, right? All of the above. And you have to have those people in your corner that still love you and care about you and support you regardless of those days. That even when you're a brat, they're like, man, I still love you and I'm still here for you. And so really, I'm proud of those people who are hanging in there. I mean, more specifically, right, I'm proud of my parents that they've allowed me to be who I am and they've supported me in being who I am. I'm proud of my siblings for the complete talent that they have in every sport that they do. Not everyone in my family does rodeo, right? We're all very diverse. And I'm proud of them for everything that they do. My little sister for being the greatest sidekick of all time. My friends, because I've lost friends, right? I had people after my accident that straight up told me I can't be around somebody in a wheelchair.
Wow.
So the friends that I've had that have done that, and of course Stacy, right? I mean, she figured out how I could get back on a horse. And she's the person I can call when I'm saying, how can I do this? And she says, you can. You can do this. We'll figure it out. And so it's all of those people, right, that help me be who I am in the spotlight, right? It's not just me that's there, but there's a whole heck of a lot of people that are holding me up.
Well, and that's so invaluable to all of those people. And I love that you let us into spotlight because you really did take a spotlight. There's so many kids of all ages look up to you, people of all ages all around. And it started with your ability to put yourself out there, to be willing to get on the spotlight because it's not easy to do what you've done and then have people not only watch you, but then you have to live up to the standard that they want you to live up to, right?
Right.
Because you are in the spotlight everywhere you go. I watched you when they were filming your movie, and I'm like, wow, that's got to be hard because everything you do, it requires much more strength and tenacity than any of the rest of us. We just take it for granted to jump in the truck and go somewhere and get our things and load up our gear and everything. And I was watching you as they were filming you in Reno, and I just thought, it just gave me a whole new level of who and what you are. How did that come about in your life when the movie and all of those things that, and when was that exactly? How long did that take, that process?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. There's been little pieces in the journey, I think, that have led to where I'm at. And I would, like, the first thing that comes to my mind, right, is when I think people started learning about my story, and it first started with making a fan page on Facebook, which, let me tell you, is one of the most intimidating things to do. Because it's different when you have friends on Facebook, right? But it's very different when now they have to click on your page as a fan. And I was so nervous in college when I made that page because I was like, people aren't gonna like me. They're not gonna like my page. They're not gonna follow. And then, you do that, you put yourself out there, and then the next thing comes along, right? Like that went okay. And I was getting asked all the time, how do you do stuff in your chair? How are you doing these things? And so Then I started making Wheelchair Wednesdays,
Yeah.
and people caught on to those and fell in love with those. And then the American came about, and well, I guess the script was already written before the American, but the American came out and getting there, and it was a whole very different platform.
You were the fan favorite, right? You were voted in to attend, was it the first or second?
Second year.
The second year of the American. Wow, Leah, you've got to tell us about that experience.
That one, I didn't even watch the first year of the American. So I was in college, so I didn't have that TV to watch that. And I actually got a Facebook message from Andrea Busby. We'd never met. And she'd said, hey, I want to get you the American. You know, I want to back you up and put your name out there and let's get you there. And I remember reading that. It was like an evening of whatever night. And I read that and I wrote back and was like, yeah, that'd be sweet. And then didn't think anything of it. I wake up the next morning and it is blown up. Completely blown up. And I'm like, this girl is serious. Like, she actually can get me there. Like, she actually can put my name out there and make it be a thing. And so and people already knew about me, right? But not to the realm of maybe voting me in for that sort of a thing. And so it just grew. And then, yeah, I was able to win that and get to go and compete at the American against the best of the best out there. And I don't know, that was one of the sweetest deals I think I've ever done.
Oh, it was for so many of us. Just saying. I mean, we're in your wake and we get to follow you as you go along, and your Great Horsepower was who you rode, right?
Yes.
On that, let's talk about him a little bit.
He's pretty special. I got him when he was 3. I actually got him, he lived down the road from the Spanish Fork Fairgrounds. My dad loved to chat with people when we went road, and he started talking to this little guy that was down there, and he said, you know, he had this grandson of Dash to Fame, and he'd been on the track. And anyway, my dad immediately is like, well, let's go look at him. Like, you know, let's try him. And so we ended up buying him. And training him was hard. His attention span is the size of a goldfish. And so training him was hard. And there was even a point where I told Stace, I was like, I don't really think I like this one. I'm like, I don't even really like him. And back then, wink, wink, Stace, you need to offer things of riding my horses more often. But she said, oh, let me take him for a minute and I'll see what we think. So she did, and she had him, I don't know, for a couple weeks or maybe a month. I'm not sure how long she had him, but she said, this one's cool. You should probably stick with this one. So I'm like, okay, I guess we will. And then he ended up being nicer than I even imagined. And I'll tell you a cool story just about him is, I rode him with my legs. You had to ride him with your legs. He didn't like you to touch his face. He didn't like that at all. The fall before my accident, I went to a Shirley Ankrum clinic, and she told us at that clinic the importance of being able to talk to your horse through your hands. Wow. And I had retrained Power because of that clinic with her, with my hands. Like, he hated it, I hated it, but we retrained ourselves to be able to talk through our hands. Of course, we still used our legs, but that we had that ability. Well, heck, I'd trained him for myself, right? Like, I mean, all of a sudden here I am in a wreck 6 months later, and I don't have the ability to talk to him with my legs. And he knew how to talk to me with my hands, so we were able to just jump right back in.
Wow, what a great story. I mean, Shirley's an amazing horsewoman and has helped so many people. And little do we know what happens in our life that we're going to need and use in our future. And that's a great example of that. How old is he?
Power is 19 this year.
Wow.
19 this year. He's been retired for a couple of years. Well, I pulled him out a couple years for the million.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, he had to come out of retirement for the million a couple years ago because my horse got sick, and then he ran faster than I needed him to. I don't know what he was even thinking.
That was funny. Yes, you went too fast when really big.
Yeah. I thought for sure he'd fall right into about a second off, and he was like, no, I'd want to be in the 2D.
He's in the 2D.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. He's like, forget that 3D. I'm better than a second off. And I'll tell you, and those were like record-breaking times. So normally that would be a 1D anywhere else when he ran in there. What a wonderful horse he's been. What were some of your big wins with him?
With him, it was pretty early on. So, I mean, before my wreck, honestly. And so we'd made it to his first year running was my senior year of high school. And so to make it back to even the top 10 in Utah was pretty tough, and we were able to do that. And then I wrecked. So then after that, it was a different kind of wins, right? It was originally to come back, it was, to be able to be back in the arena and what were we capable of. And he placed and he made money. I mean, we won some 1D, we won the 1D a couple times on him. And that was more than I even imagined. I mean, we college rodeoed my first year on him, and we were a 6th the first year in our region, and he won Horse of the Year, which of course is pretty special when they get that. And then I had to start retiring. Well, actually, I gave him to Autumn. And she high school rodeoed on him. She made state on him and was in the top 10 at state on him again. And then we were like, okay, we probably need to start giving him kind of the back end. He is very anxious and he feels a lot of emotions. And so I felt like it was ready for him to go home.
Do you think he knew that you had been in the accident?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That horse is so stinking smart, and he was made for me. I mean, if I tell you there was ever a horse that was created, his sole purpose was to get me through that accident, that was him.
Wow. What a champion. What an amazing journey that you had together with him, and how he saved your life and you saved him. And it's been wonderful to watch that dance. What does the future look like for Amberley with horses?
Gosh dang, I'm pretty lucky with the horses I have right now. I've got 2 extremely talented athletes and teammates that I get to run. And on their best day, it's back to even where I was at 10 years old. On my horse's best day, I don't care who's there. My horses are capable of outrunning them. Yeah. And it just has to be your day for that. But that part is pretty special to be back there, because at 10 years old, I knew what that feeling was like. At 18 years old, I felt like I lost it. And so I honestly can tell you today, the 2 horses I have, I'm capable of that again. And it's been a long time that I've been able to truthfully say that, I mean, I have nice horses. I've always had them. But to truthfully tell you on my horse's best day, I don't care who else is entered. Yeah. And I'm thankful that I get to say that, because I've worked really hard to get back to there. And I know even on that best day, I'm still in a disadvantage. So I have to not only outrun them, but I have to outrun what my disadvantages are. And so my future is big. The future goals are big. I want to make it as far as I can make it. And whether that's, the NFR or the American, of course, back to circuit finals. I mean, that's, I think, just what I'm going to be doing.
See, that was so wonderful.
All those things. That's what you got to do.
And so I know you're a big dreamer. And did you foresee knowing that you would be able to, from your accident, to get to the circuit finals? I mean, that's a big stretch.
There was
how many people don't get to go to the circuit finals ever?
There was some unsure times in there that I wasn't sure if I would get back there, and I had wanted to try a couple years ago, and honestly, my horses had gotten sick. He got pneumonia, and I broke my leg, and then COVID happened, and my confidence was actually shot for a year from breaking my leg. So I had all these things that made it so that I didn't.
Did you break your leg on a barrel?
My legs fell. Legacy fell at a barrel race and snapped my femur. Oh. And so then that put us out for that season, and then he got pneumonia the next season, and then COVID the next season. And anyway, last season was the first season we were able to be for real. And we talked about it down here we're in wherever we are, but in Arizona. When I was in Arizona, I told Stacy, and I said, I'm going to make the circuit finals this year. And she said, that's hard. She said, that's going to be hard. I said, I know it's going to be hard, but everything I do is hard.
It's so true.
So let's get real. Getting up in the morning and getting in my chair is freaking hard. So if I'm going to be doing stuff that's hard anyway, I might as well have fun while I'm doing it. And I might as well freaking win while I'm at it. And so, not that we had a smoking hot year, but we were good enough.
Oh yeah.
And that, I know you wouldn't have seen that coming, but I'm going to do it again. And I hope to be doing that again. And I hope to be doing bigger things than that with the horses that I have and the team that I have behind me to make it possible.
Do you journal? Do you write down all of these wonderful things? You're so well spoken. Do you write?
No, I guess not. I write my goals down in my phone a lot. I write my thoughts down a lot. People who follow my social media get to hear my thoughts of the day sometimes, of whatever is honestly going on in my life. I try to make that a message for everyone else, because I know if I'm feeling it, someone else probably does.
Well, you are a real influencer. That's not just a word. I mean, you influence so many people. Is there a lot of pressure with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As somebody that people look at all the time, you feel like you're not allowed to mess up a whole lot. I mean, heck, I just ran in Tucson and I hit all 3 barrels, right? You're not supposed to do that if you're Amberley Snyder. That is not how that's supposed to happen. But I am still a human, and it is the way it goes. Heck, here today, right? I mean, I had kids drive in just to watch me run today, and you tip a barrel, and you feel a little bummed, not even just for yourself, but for the kids that came and watched.
I think about 50% hit barrels today.
Oh man, I was in the boat with them. But then I remember that those kids didn't care if I hit a barrel today. They really didn't. That's not why they came, and they don't leave here talking about the barrel that I hit. I mean, they live here talking that they were able to meet me and see me and talk to me and watch me run. So then you kind of, you realize that those stinking hit barrels are maybe not the most important thing all the time.
Why do you attract them? Why are you an attractive person?
I thought you were going to ask me, why do I attract to those barrels? I don't know, but I'm so sick of it right now. I need to
Good
stop.
way to switch it up. Yeah,
Don't ask me why I'm attracted to them. I don't know, but they're jumping in front of me right and left right now.
It's like they're coming before I'm ready for them.
I don't know, but the kids.
Yeah, I mean, you are truly their fan and inspiration. And I mean, very few people that are confined to a wheelchair are the person that someone looks up to.
It's true.
I mean, that's just not normally. I mean, you're beautiful and you have so many talents, but there's just something about you that you're like the light and the moss just come. And I watch all of these little kids look so up to you. What is that?
I don't even know if I know the answer to that, because some days I feel worthy of it and other days I don't. So I think that is maybe why I get to stay there is, I don't know, I'm just a human. I'm trying to do the best I can.
Yeah.
And you're lucky if kids want to be you when you're doing that.
And it's so amazing because there again, you wouldn't think people would want what you've got. But they do. It
blows my mind. It blows my mind when these kids say that they want to be me when they grow up, or they'll say they wish they were in a chair like me, and I'm like, oh, bless your little hearts. You don't really mean that. You don't even know what that means. But honestly, even the fact that it comes out of their mouth tells me they believe it. Yeah. Like that's what they think, because they feel like I'm living the life they want to live. And there's something to be said about that.
But you created it.
Gosh, I try. I definitely try to make every day worth living.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're very intentional. And I think that with your goals and the way you strive to meet and check all of those off, do you feel like you've progressed in that? Do you feel like you figured out a formula for Amberley that helps you align to the things you want?
I think so. I think I'm still a work in progress, and I believe I'll always be that. But I've definitely learned, what things are going to bring the most happiness and success and help me be better. And whether that's the people I'm around or the goals that I set or the focus of what I'm looking at, the conversations you surround yourself with, all of those things definitely play such a big role on who you want to be and where you want to be. And I've had to learn through the experience of being around maybe not all of the great stuff all the time, that like, man, that didn't make me feel better after, or that conversation didn't make me believe in myself. So if that conversation didn't, then obviously I probably better not have that one again.
Yeah.
Life is hard enough as it is. It doesn't matter if you're in a chair or you're walking. Life is hard.
Yeah.
You've got to surround yourself with the conversations that make you feel like you're capable of being where you want to be.
So you have a lot of emotional intelligence. I can see that in you. Was that, I mean, you had to get emotional muscle to overcome what you've done. And I think that for me, as just an outsider looking in, I see those great emotional muscle that you have that has put you through not only the gate, but put you into the winner's circle and so much more. And how would you share with the people at home, how do they gain their own emotional muscle?
First thing I would tell those people is every day doesn't have to be your day. And so bottling up or trying to always suck it up or pretend you're okay doesn't make you the toughest person in the room. Being willing to work through those and leave them behind, you know, the bad days and the bad emotions, you have to be able to leave them behind, because if you carry those with you, they're always going to be fighting with the ones that are trying to be strong. And I've learned that I get to be upset when a day doesn't go the way that I want. And I get to be disappointed if I tip a barrel. I get to be disappointed. That wasn't it. That wasn't what I wanted. And if I don't work through that, then I don't get to focus on what's thereafter. It's like the two little humans on your shoulder. Right? Sometimes you got to listen to the one that's sad for a minute so that you can say, okay, I hear you. I understand you. I feel that. So that you can say, okay, I'm glad we got to have that conversation. Now let's go ahead and have this other one of what do we do next? How do we be better? How do we be stronger? How do we not have that happen again? Because if you sit there, that other one's just going to be tugging at you the whole time like, you didn't hear me. You didn't listen to me. I'm still here. Well, good. Then go ahead and acknowledge it. Make sure you know that it's there so that then you can say goodbye and say hello to the one that really is going to get you to the better place. What
a wonderful life lesson, and such a visual of how to handle those things, because we do have all that self-talk, that the doubters that pull in and all of the things. But I really like that you don't have to accept everything. Because we've been that serenity, accept what we can't change, and you know, all of that type of thing. So I really enjoyed sitting down with you. I could sit here for hours upon hours, multiple hours with you. I'm so extremely proud of you. I love your family, and you've always had a dear place in my heart, before and after the accident and everything, and I'm a big fan, as many are, and I wish you nothing but the best life has to offer. And I smile at where you're going, Amberley, because it's just a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope you've enjoyed our wonderful episode of Xtreme One to Watch with Amberley Snyder. Watch this on our YouTube channel or any of the major platforms of podcast. Thank you, and happy trails.